State lawmakers are now questioning how 70 foster kids can go missing.
The report coming to light after a lawmaker confronted the agency about the missing kids yesterday. Now our investigative team is pressing leaders.
41 Action News investigator Jessica McMaster is taking a deeper look at how these children are actually tracked by the state. Jessica.
Yeah, Rhiannon, Department for Children and Families has contractors that place children in the state of Kansas with foster care parents, so DCF doesn't handle these cases directly. We did speak with one of those contractors, KVC Health Systems, about why and how these children are going missing after being placed into foster care. Director of Communication Jenny Cutts tells us most of the children who've gone missing are runaways. She says KVC follows protocols in every missing children's case by alerting police and various other state employees, including DCF.
Again, it's tragic, it's heartbreaking, it's unacceptable. There are staff in each state looking for these children, contacting local authorities. It's a problem, just as if our own children went missing.
Every year, hundreds of people are reported missing in national parks and forests, many of them children. And most are eventually found, whether dead or alive. But a small percentage of the cases, some right here in Oregon, are never solved. The mystery those cases present has one man wondering if there's a common denominator behind the disappearances that have search and rescue crews continuing to scratch their heads.
We turned around and here was this little toddler walking out of the fog with absolutely no clothes on at all.
Well, it's troubling. Every month in almost every state, people go into the wilderness and don't come out.
Stories like that are what fueled David Politis. Forever rifling newspaper archives and badgering federal agencies for public records, he's discovered more than 400 cases of people who wandered into the wilderness but never came back.
There are so many missing kids in Oregon, it's ridiculous.
Accounts of children, people, vanishing, seemingly swallowed up by the many endless forests across America, or even later found in ways that defy logic.
These were unusual things that don't make sense, that happen to cluster together in 3 to 4, sometimes as many as 20, 30 people missing at one location.
He's mapped out what appear to be more than 30 clusters of vanishings in forests and national parks coast to coast. Some of those clusters and cases right here in Oregon.
Relief agencies are doing all they can to fill the stomachs of flood victims, but an angel of mercy has made it her personal mission to fill their spirit. Here's Tarika Duncan.
Now, he just said relief agencies are doing all they can to fill the stomachs of the flood victims. Gives me the impression that there are a lot of people and they don't have enough food.
It was an impromptu moment captured on camera. Victoria White, a 30-year-old university admissions counselor, singing a song of hope at the Lone Star Convention Center shelter. She was doing it for the people here in Conroe, Texas, who were forced to flee their flooded homes. Less than 2 days later, more than 16 million people have seen it.
You bet, don't you?
And today, White was back at it again.
Where are all the people?
This time at another shelter in her hometown of Livingston.
All right.
Delivering a robust
Another shelter. Where are all the people?
version of Amazing Grace as 67-year-old Patsy Morgan sang along.
Amen. Awesome. Thank you, Miss Patsy.
After watching the coverage of Hurricane Harvey, White says she knew she had to do something.
We began to just kind of think about what could we do to inspire people.
Once again, another shot of the shelter, and doesn't look like there are thousands of people there. I just am not sure where all these people that they've rescued are.
And to let them know it looks hopeless, but I promise it's not. And so with that, we said, man, we can use our voices. And I lift my voice.
Once again, where are all the people? Looks like all the blankets are bagged up on the cots back here. No people. Tables, not what you would expect to see, a large group of people in an area and the tables and chairs are all set up really nice. The cots are all bagged, or the blankets are all bagged in the cots. Just saying.
In your
Okay, 5 people, 2 children, and 3 National Guardsmen. Where are all the flood victims?
Nothing beats a good old gospel tune.
I'm going to sit down here with Jake, who's got his dog Bubba. Jake, who is homeless. Jake, you've found yourself some shelter here. Why are you outside during this entire hurricane?
Well, I chose not to go inside yesterday because the Salvation Army and Russian Wind's homeless shelter, where they were accepting people, were caught killing everybody that was in there.
I'm sorry.
Is because some of these people, this is a new normal. They're never going to go back home. So they want to help them as much so that they're never just walking out of here and feeling like they're going back onto the street. They work with them throughout the process here to help them adjust to this new world order that they're going to be living in after this.
Right now, there are more than 4,000 people who are missing in our state. Not all of their stories are in the headlines, but for their families, nothing is more important than finding them.
In a matter of 2 weeks, close to 20 Black and Latino girls went missing here in the District of Columbia. Now, it gained little to no attention from the media. Some of the girls have returned home, however, the majority are still missing. Lawmakers are now calling on the FBI to use their time wisely and look for the missing Black and Latino girls. They are asking Attorney General Jeff Sessions and FBI Director James Comey to devote the resources necessary to determine whether these developments are an anomaly or whether they are indicative of an underlying trend that must be addressed.
The fact is even if the police department is saying that the number of those children missing is not going up, it might even be declining, the fact of the matter is, regardless of those facts, these cases are still underreported. Why is that?
I think but what's happening is that they've made this correlation to the missing persons, as if the missing person case is not as valid as a missing person, as the runaway rather is not as valid as the missing person. When in reality, if they're missing, you don't know if they are a runaway or if they've been taken. Mm-hmm. So I think we've been advising that to take every case of missing person as seriously, regardless of what previous cases have told you, that there have been previous runaways, and that requires another set of solutions. And then there are those who are absolutely missing still to this day. And so I started to do an independent investigation, and as of Tuesday of last week, we went to the website and it had not been updated in 3 years.
Wow.
There was one person on the website, and that was Relisha Rudd. And so I did reach out to the chief and the commander, and I said, if you're gonna be, promoting information, there should be a source where people can go back to check validity.
Well,
and
we'll keep looking into that. We have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Sharice Crawford, Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner, Ward 8 for Southeast Washington, D.C.
Take us through these numbers, March, April, June, July, etc., because what I found interesting about your numbers is that things get really scary right around Halloween time and the numbers balloon, don't they? Take us through these 2016 numbers of missing kids in Virginia.
Okay, throughout the year, the numbers have been ramping up throughout 2016. I don't have the exact numbers for all the kids, but if I include the kids whose photos have been included in their files, it gets even more bleak. So let's start with March. These are only the kids who have no photos attached, which, and for 2016, that is 182 children. That is way higher than the total numbers for most of the other states in the union. So let's start with March. These are kids without photographs attached to their files. March, 5 kids missing. April, 1. May, 6 kids missing. June, 7. July, 3. those are all numbers that would be normal, fairly normal for a state that size. Let's get into August, 8 kids missing. September, 23 kids missing.
Yeah, and here comes October. Here comes Halloween.
Here comes Halloween, 40 kids missing. And then we move into November, and it looks like they're still at it in November. 74 children missing in November.
How many kids right now are missing from the state of Virginia, Mark?
An hour ago, it was at 393. Now, another word about the Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Granted, this isn't a government agency. This is privately run. I think it was started by John Walsh. But with their numbers claiming that they have a 95 to 97% recovery rate, if I didn't call and dig and ask people where those numbers came from and who I could talk to on the Virginia numbers, and nobody knew where I could find out, counting a 95 to 97% recovery rate, if anybody went on there, they would assume that everything's okay. You know, yeah, we're missing a few here and there, but overall, all these kids are going home. And there's no evidence to suggest that whatsoever. So I have to wonder if it's just another government-connected agency that's, where their number crunchers have been charged with painting pretty pictures for us. You know, much like our stock market, our employment data, everything else doesn't seem to be real anymore.
Yeah.